Okay, this is going too far. I have to address this. I made a video about why colonialism made India poor and the West rich. And I got like a million comments saying, what about China? What about Singapore? Those countries were also colonized and destroyed, but they're rich today. What excuse does India have for staying poor? Okay, first of all, my video was about why India became poor, not why it continues to be poor today. India still has huge problems like corruption and a lack of civic sense that's holding back our country. We need to address that, and I'm not trying to make excuses. But still, why did China and Singapore do so much better than India? What about Japan and Korea? Even countries like Malaysia and the Philippines have higher average income than India. Why is that? In the case of Singapore, the island is tiny and had a mostly homogeneous population when it became independent. The first Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, was a visionary, making sweeping reforms and industrializing the country. But his rule was also authoritarian, and the country could have easily become a dictatorship if someone else had taken over. It's actually a very similar situation to South Korea. Just look at what happened to North Korea. It's just that one of them got lucky. In China's case, the Chinese Communist Party under Mao had basically ruined the country until a new leader, Deng Xiaoping, began major economic reforms in 1978. Also, like 92% of the Chinese population is ethnically homogeneous, which definitely makes it easier to run the country. Let's not forget that China even today is a totalitarian dictatorship with no freedom of press. I actually think India's situation is very similar to that of Africa. We think of Africa as one giant block, but countries like Nigeria, Tanzania, and Sudan have insane ethnic diversity with hundreds of tribes and communities. European colonists didn't look at any of these factors when they drew borders for the new countries of Africa, and the result? The Rwandan genocide, the Nigerian civil war, the Somali civil war. Many of these countries are live examples of how India could have ended up. I mean, we almost had a split between North and South India right after independence. Imagine how that would have been. Even now, the relationship between India and its sister countries Pakistan and Bangladesh is tense, if not outright hostile. The fact that a country of 1.4 billion people who speak literally hundreds of languages, worship thousands of gods, and have wildly different values have stayed together is huge. We are the world's largest unbiased democracy in a time when even the US has had election tampering. In India, our votes actually count for something. Do we have major systemic problems that make it really hard to love this country? Yes. Do Indians have poor civic sense and discipline? Absolutely. But are we at least doing okay for a country that had the odds totally stacked against us? Hell yeah!